The opening to the warrior gene is an establishing shot for a sentimental place to our main female character, and also represents a city landscape in the background of the archway. This convention is used in films such as 28 Days Later, James Bond, and Dirty Pretty Things, where each of these show comparisons of London. Dirty Pretty Things shows the high-class life with the sinister underlying secrets, and this feature was much like what we wanted to achieve. Therefore, we kept the rich side, but only to a minimal. We developed this to show high-class characters the audience would come across, and this opening sets up part of the plot for our trailer. With this in mind, we decided to challenge forms of the city landscape by focusing on the memorial as a historical landmark. This contrast achieved our purpose of representing the past and present. Our main challenge came from the way we represented our protagonist. We wanted to find a balance between her innocent self and the psycho gene which affects her, labelling her as an antagonist. We wanted her to represent someone who was fighting for the justice of her mother's death, ruling out the idea that it was just the warrior gene that made her kill people. With inspiration from the TV show Revenge and many films such as Save the Last Dance and P.S. I Love You, we thought by using a voiceover would provide more information to our audience rather than footage which could have been misleading. To hear the character's voice who had written the letter brought more to our trailer, as we were able to reveal the bond straight after with a photo, thus showing a difference from the style shown in Revenge. Our idea of the lab scene came from the handing over of the documents. In order to show the content of the envelope, we had to find a suitable scene. Our original government footage was described as inappropriate, therefore we changed this to a research lab scene as to refocus the conventions of psychological films. Similarly, inspiration came from the voice tape recordings in The Fourth Kind, as they were reports on the events that occurred with individual patients. We adjusted this to our needs by showing a conclusion on the board. For our trailer to show the warrior gene's psycho traits, we reviewed the implications of death in the TV show Revenge and movie Seven. Both sequences used photos for a prop of murder without showing violence, and we felt this brought a more sinister outlook as the cause of death remained unexplained. Seven suited our idea perfectly, as the dark and scrapbook-style theme implied something designed personally and on a smaller scale. By using suspect photos, similarly to Seven, we crossed out the eyes and then the whole face. We also sped up the footage to portray a quick death. We adapted the idea further by showing some scenes of our victim tied up. This hinted out possibilities for death. Our inspiration came from the Helpers trailer, where a homemade-style recording of the victims distressed and tied up are shown. We used the conventions of showing the evil presence in our character's mind as a cliffhanger. We achieved this through thinking of films that focus on psychological aspects. Esther's character from The Orphan came to mind, and we decided to develop the makeup style of heavy black eyes to grasp the audience's attention.